After the Trevor Story injury, the Red Sox have a couple holes in their lineup. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe more. Who knows? But Luke and I are going to decide what the Red Sox lineup will look like in 2023. Who's going to be in it, where they put go in the lineup, and what positions is everyone going to play. We're going to cover that all right here. So let's get straight into it. My name is Derek. I'm here with Luke. You're watching Bleacher Brawls, and let's get straight into it. Obviously, we put some rules in place when it comes to lineup construction. By rules, I really say just one rule in terms of we have given ourselves one guy we can bring in from free agency to fill a spot in the lineup. Besides that, you got to use in-house options. So I'll go to Luke first. What's your lineup?
So obviously leaving Trevor Story out of things, this was kind of a depressing undertaking, just really looking at this lineup closely and seeing where it's not like you got a rotation of five aces to prevent runs that can support a lineup like this. So you're really banking on a lot of these guys hitting their absolute ceiling of their projections. So anyway, to begin, to lead off, the obvious leadoff choice, Masataka Yoshida, the new international free agent, left fielder. High on base percentage, 449 on base percentage in his last year in the Nippon Japanese League. So even if that drops by 100, I'm thinking he'll hit about 350 for an on base percentage, which is kind of like, for me, a 350 OBP is kind of like a 300 average. It's kind of like that benchmark to, okay, that makes this guy really good at getting on base. I've always thought of 350 OBP as that. So getting on base a lot, potential to score a lot of runs if he can get some hits behind him. Batting second, I got Kike Hernandez, the center fielder. If Story was in the lineup, I'd have him a little lower in the lineup. Not because Story would be hitting second, but just because I think the lineup would just fill out a little better that way. But I got Hernandez hunting fastballs out of the two-hole, right-handed hitter to break up Yoshida from my number 3 hitter, Rafael Devers, the third baseman, another lefty. So Hernandez in there to break up Yoshida and Devers, the two lefties. I never really understood the fascination lately about putting your best hitters batting second. I get it. They hit more, but I'd rather have two table setters in front of the number 3 hitter. Devers is the gear that this whole lineup revolves around for the next decade. So I see him as a number 3 hitter, not a number 2 hitter. Also because I'm old. Justin Turner is the DH, batting in the cleanup spot, which is no longer really a thing, but he's batting fourth, let's say. Good professional hitter with a knack for doing things in the clutch, and a right-handed pull hitter with with some good pop. Could do some damage in Fenway Park. Playing DH so we can play all year, not having to play in the field very much. Alex Verdugo playing right field, contact hitter that I'm hoping will thrive without the shift if he can keep going the other way. I actually had Verdugo as I would have had him as the leadoff hitter coming into this year before they signed Yoshida, who was a prototypical leadoff hitter. So I got Verdugo in the 5th spot, which I don't love because I think of the 5th spot as a power run producing spot, but we got to deal with what we got. In the 6th hole, I got my free agent acquisition, Jurickson Profar, who we are only acquiring because Trevor Story is down, and you got to fill up that spot in the lineup. Profar played second base every day a few years ago in 2019, I think. I don't know if he was with the Padres then or if he was with a different team. But look, he's a switch hitter, and he can play a lot of different positions. He's a left field. He's been a left fielder with San Diego. He played second base regularly. I think he can play some third base. He could probably play right field, get by in right field, maybe even center field. And first base too. So he's a good kind of a utility player to have there. And without Story, he's in the starting lineup. I got Tristan Casas at first base. I'm hitting him low in the lineup to give him room to grow, not put too much pressure on him in his rookie year. Excellent plate discipline, good pop. He'll be a middle of the order bat, hoping in a year. I'm hoping in 2024 he's going to be this middle of the order lefty to support Devers as well. But batting him 7th this year at first base. Batting 8th, I got Christian Arroyo at shortstop. That's bad news if he's the everyday shortstop because he is always getting hurt when he has to play every day. But he really earned his spot in the second half of last season, I think. And he's the best option available. When people get hurt, you got to go with what you have. And batting ninth, I got the tandem of Reese McGuire and Connor Wong as the catchers. Reese McGuire hit great after the Red Sox picked him up at the end of 2022. He's a decent fielding catcher, and Connor Wong has some power and can play second base in a pinch if needed, especially with Story out. That is a definite possibility that may come up. And on the bench, I'll just throw in the bench players other than the backup catcher. I got Rob Refsnyder as an outfielder, as the backup outfielder, because he can play all three positions. Yuli, oh no, that's right. I already used my pick. So and Emmanuel Valdez as my an infielder slash outfielder, just because he has a really good bat. He doesn't really play the field very well, but he you need hitting on this team. So you're going to need someone with some pop, with a chance to do some damage that can come in and hit for a catcher, hit for Christian Arroyo against a tough righty. You're going to need some runs, and Valdez has a chance to give you some runs. And I forgot about the one free agent rule when I picked Yuli Gurriel to be my other backup infielder.
Just like throw Dahlbeck there, whatever.
Yeah, I hate the idea of that, but I'm not.
But
I can't think of one right
pick?
now.
Who are you going to pick?
Nick York. I'm taking Nick York from Double A rather than Bobby Dahlbeck.
No, please no. All right, so I like your lineup. Honestly, if I was getting Jerks and Profar, I'd personally put him in the 2-hole over Kike in the 6-hole. But that's just me personally. But I see what you're going with there. Although I also do worry about Profar at second because kind of had some second base yips at times. So it's a little bit worrisome, but I do see what you're thinking. For me, I'm rolling with my lineup. I'm going with Masataka Yoshida hitting leadoff. I just, like Luke said, I'm not going to spend too much time because I don't want to say the same thing Luke said about everyone, but, Yoshida, I think, though, if he hits 300, I think he's going to have more like a 380 on base, not 350. He hits 280, probably like a 360, 365 on base. So I think you take that all day and you run with it. Hitting second, I think this is just more comfort factor for this guy. Hit second before, seems to always favor hitting second, so I'm going to go with Rafi Devers hitting second. Obviously at third base, Yoshida was at left field. I just think that's more of a comfort thing for him, and it seems that he's just most comfortable doing that. I think Alex Cora said that before, so that's why I'm going to go, and that seems like they're probably still going to do that. Hitting third, I'm going with Justin Turner at my DH spot. Just, you need a righty at some point, and I think Justin Turner can slide in behind Devers and be a solid bat. However, he could fall back in the order if one of my other righties that we get to in a little bit has a big year. Hitting fourth, I'm going to go with Alex Verdugo. Not your typical number 4 hitter. But how I'm seeing it is if guys like Yoshida and Devers and Justin Turner, if they're getting on base, give me a guy like Verdugo who can, put the ball in the gap for a double and bring a guy in. That's kind of what I'm going for here. You're not going to see a lot of home run guys in this lineup. So why not get a guy like Verdugo who can, put the ball in the gap for a double or get himself a nice single to the other way going to left field. I think that's probably your best fit there. Then hitting fifth, I'm going to bring in my center fielder. I'm going to bring in Adam Duvall to play center field. I know some Red Sox fans are kind of split on him. I think he's more than good enough defensively to play center field. Yes, Yoshida and Verdugo in the corners aren't ideal. But I think Duvall's good enough, and we're only bringing in one guy. I think Duvall kind of makes sense to do that. Bring some power to the lineup. This lineup needs power. Yes, high strikeout numbers, but Story did bring some high strikeout numbers as well. And the hope is that Duvall can hit lefties very well. Now, he's been kind of even splits throughout his career. Some years he's up against righties, down against lefties. Other years he's up against lefties, down against righties. But hopefully he can be steady and then also be good against lefties and give the 30 home runs that he did kind of in 2021. You're looking for almost a 2021 type year if you bring in Adam Duvall. High upside, which is essentially this Red Sox team this year. Then rolling into the 6th spot, I'm going to counter the kind of high strikeouts and not a ton of walks from Adam Duvall with Tristan Cassis. Guy who can walk, get on base. I think that's going to be big to have behind a guy like Adam Duvall. Just Cassis isn't going to be a super low strikeout guy. He'll probably be around league average, I think, in terms of strikeouts. He will draw his walks. I've always said I think Cassis could legitimately be a legit doubles power guy before a home run power guy in terms of he might hit 20, 25 home runs, but he could hit 35, 40 doubles. And, once again, Verdugo drives those guys in from the 4 spot. He's also getting on base for Duvall and Cassis. So I think that fits very well. In my 7 spot, I'm going to bring in Kike Hernandez. Just hopefully he gives you a 2021 type year. And if he does that in the 7 spot, I think that'd be massive. However, I'm not comfortable hitting him much higher than the 7 spot right now, at the very least. So that's where I'm going to put him. And the 8 spot.
Where is he playing?
He's playing shortstop.
Shortstop?
Yep, he's playing shortstop. Then in the 8 spot, I'm gonna go with Connor Wong or Reese McGuire, whichever one you want to pick. I prefer Connor Wong. So I will officially say Connor Wong. Also right-handed bat. I don't want too many lefties in the lineup, although he's going to be sandwiched between 2 righties, so maybe a lefty wouldn't hurt here, but I'm going to stick with Connor Wong, especially because he is a right-handed bat. And he does have some versatility. He played some second and third in the minors with the Dodgers. In an absolute pinch, you could use him there too. So I like that versatility, and I think he is going to have a solid year. Then in my 9 spot, I wanted a guy who is kind of a contact guy, gets the ball in play a lot. We saw this kind of from Christian Vasquez at times when he'd be in the 9 hole. So I'm going with a guy with the same first name. I'm going with my second baseman, Christian Arroyo, in the 9 spot. Christian Arroyo, yes, he doesn't strike out a lot like that, but also, too, he doesn't draw a ton of walks. But he can kind of be that high average guy. Yes, not a super high OBP, but guy who can kind of be that, you need a ball hit the other way, right? And you got a guy on first. Let's say Kike's on first, and you got to hit the other way in that 9 spot. They'll just poke the ball the other way through the hole, get yourself a base hit. Christian Arroyo can do that, and then you obviously go right to that top of the lineup that can drive those guys in. So I like that. I like having Arroyo in that 9 spot, and I think it makes sense.
So let me say I'll change my since I picked Gurriel, I'm not taking Dahlbeck, I'm not taking Nick York. I'll take David Hamilton as my other infielder, my backup infielder who can play second and short, at least in the minors. So I'm assuming if he can play second and short, he can play third. So a couple problems I have with yours. So I'm seeing, and you can come back with any problems you have with mine too after. So you're moving Kike Hernandez, a really good center fielder, out of that spot to play shortstop, where he'll probably be an okay, maybe less than okay shortstop, and then bringing in Adam Duvall. So I thought about bringing in Adam Duvall, and yes, the lineup needs right-handed power, but so you're going to bring in Duvall, and you're going to put in a square peg in a round hole. At least you're going to try to. So you're taking a great center fielder out of center field to be a not nearly as good shortstop, and you're taking a guy who's been a great defensive corner outfielder, putting him in center field where he's not going to be as good just because you want that right-handed power bat.
No, because I'd argue Duvall's done more than well in center field when he's played center field. He's been a plus defender in center when he's played there. And yes, I don't love the idea of moving Kike in, but when I'm looking at the lineup, they definitely do need some right-handed pop, and I have faith in Duvall's ability to play center. However, if I didn't have faith in Duvall's ability to play center, yes, I wouldn't have gotten him. I would have moved for someone else, like in Elvis Andrus. He was the guy who crossed my mind if I didn't go for Duvall. I'm kind of out on Iglesias. I'm not crazy over him at shortstop right now. I prefer him at second base. But I'm not crazy about Arroyo at shortstop. I actually would, if we could have made a trade, I would have brought in a guy like Tony Kemp to platoon with Arroyo. Also, to keep him healthy, split the at-bats. Kemp brings a little bit of versatility, too. Can play second and left. Arroyo can still play second, third, and short occasionally. So you add versatility that way, but I don't love it. Also, I will say my bench, I have Reese McGuire. I have Rob Refsnyder as of now. I have Bobby Dahlbeck. And I guess I have.
Well, that's it. That gives you 13, I think, right?
I guess I have Jaron Duran, as my 13th. I guess.
No, I think that would give you 14, I think.
No,
Aaron Durant.
my nine lineup guys, then Reese McGuire, Rob Refsnyder, Dahlbeck, and Duran. I don't
Okay.
really have many other options.
My bench is awful, by the way, and I'm fully aware of that. But I'm not putting Bobby Dahlbeck anywhere on here. And I mean, I'm just putting Hamilton because there are no other backup infielders on the roster, and I can't pull
Yeah,
anything from anywhere
I will
else.
say they did start playing a little Hamilton a little bit in center field as well. At the end of last year,
Yeah.
old middle
Oh,
to end of last year. So they're trying to add versatility to him as well.
and good pinch runner to come in off the bench. You can play the Dave Roberts role. Oh, the other issue I had with your and I'm a left right guy. I don't want to stack lefties together if I can avoid it at all because you get a Andrew Miller in there, Andrew Chafin, somebody in there who can dust two good hitters. So like and all of a sudden they go from say Devers is hitting 295 or something against a tough lefty, his average is probably like 220 or something. Like so, but especially at the top of the order, like I don't want to see, oh good, I got the top of the order coming up, and but the other team I'm playing against has a really good left-handed pitcher that can really neutralize them. So you got Yoshida and Devers, this good lefty mows them down, and then you're stuck with Turner and Verdugo and hoping that you're going to get something out of that. I mean, the number two hole thing being the new like cleanup spot, I really dislike. I get it, you get like 50 more at bats a year or whatever it is when you're hitting second, but that always bothered me, and I don't see it as progress in baseball thinking. I just think of it as people just trying to change the game just to make changes. It makes perfect sense. Try and get two table setters that can get on base in front of your big bats.
Yeah, I thought about putting Justin Turner second, but my problem was I didn't know who to put fourth if I put Turner second. So I kind of had to flip flop Devers and Turner. My ideal situation though would have been to go Yoshida. If Story was healthy, I would have gone Yoshida Devers. Because if you bring in a lefty, that lefty's got to face Justin Turner as well. I mean, not Justin Turner, Trevor Story as well, and then maybe Justin Turner as well in the fourth spot. That's kind of what I would have gone Yoshida, Devers, Story, Turner, Verdugo.
But either way, that lefty gets Yoshida and Devers back to back. And then,
Yeah, but I still think they
say he
can
didn't
hold.
come in to start the inning, like he's got Yoshida and Devers, and then he just has to face one more guy. Or maybe he just faces Arroyo and then Yoshida and Devers.
Well, the idea though, I think, is that either way, like even if I like, yeah, you can say put them 1-3, but then you can still bring in a lefty for 1-2 and 3. Because yes, you could say, well, Story's hitting third. If the 9 guys up in that inning, there can go 9-1-2. But then even 1-2-3, they could still go lefty 1-2-3, and then there's still some problems there regardless of how you do it. And I think that's the problem with Story leaving, where it's like,
Huge
okay,
problem.
even if you want to spread those lefties out, it's what righties are really good enough to kind of fill in that spot. Also, too, I do think Devers does end up hitting second just because I think, like I said, I think Cora said it before. Just he's comfortable there. Is it ideal? Not necessarily, but who like that lineup does? I don't know. I don't think there's enough good righties. I still think they need to bring 2 guys, not just one. Especially now with Story being out. So like my ideal would be like Andrew. Maybe you bring in an Andrewson Duval. Maybe Duval doesn't play every day. Um, you know, or maybe it's a Andrews and I don't know, Jose Iglesias. I don't know. So I think
So
you got
you
to bring
got,
2 guys though.
but you're bringing in a right-handed power hitter, and you said yourself, I need a right-handed power hitter. So you're getting Duval, but you're not hitting him fourth. You're hitting him fifth, and you're hitting Verdugo fourth, even though like you got the two lefties up there. So I'm saying you could separate the two lefties by going Yoshida, Turner, Devers, and then you got a power hitter to hit behind Devers.
Yeah, I feel like Duval though is yeah, as much as Duval can hit 30 homers, he's gonna hit like 210, 215.
Yeah,
And
he's
it's
gonna strike
like
out a lot.
yeah, and I think that's kind of my problem. It's like you're gonna put him in clear like situations, but like the ability to put the ball in play isn't fully there. Yes, he might hit you some homers, but it's like he feels like in the Hunter Renfroe situation almost, like where it's like he'll hit homers, but like he's not like you're gonna end up with him like 5, 6 spot at best because it's like It's like, yeah, he'll hit some homers, but he's not going to put the ball in play as much as other guys would in key situations.
Yeah. Yeah, but I agree they need another player in here. We couldn't even fill out this a lineup without saying, all right, pick one guy. So there's not a major league lineup in here on this team without another move. Because you end up with Rob Refsnyder playing every day, or you got Rob Refsnyder and Christian Arroyo playing every day, something like that.
Yeah.
So something has to give. There needs to be an acquisition until Story is gone. I mean, until Story comes back. So Story going down really just shows how vulnerable this offense really was the whole time.
Yeah, yeah, and I will say I did consider using Ref Snyder as like a platoon guy to face lefties, but I don't like. But I'm looking at it like, yeah, unless you're gonna play Kike in the infield for when against lefties and Ref Snyder in center, and then put Kike. Then I feel like you're just moving Kike too much almost, where it's just like you're moving them back and forth between center and either short or second. So like I was considering, but like who's a left-handed center fielder that makes sense? Like
Not Jaron Duran, and that's the one problem.
exactly.
Say Jaron Duran comes up, he does great. Say he's the best he could possibly be. He still doesn't fit because he's another freaking left-handed bat, and you still need a right-handed hitter in
Yeah,
that lineup.
yeah. And like I did raise the question. Well, also to Duran defensively, you can't put him in center field with Yoshida and Verdugo on the
Right.
right. Which like I did bring up the question on Twitter. It's like, has anyone thought about Duran back to second base in spring training and just see what happens? Because he can't play center field with Yoshida and Verdugo in the corners, and it's not. I mean, none of those situations are ideal if Duran's playing, whether it's center, second base. Like it's not ideal.
And I don't want an empty-headed guy like that in the middle of the infield like that, be responsible for turning double plays and cutoffs and all this stuff. Like that's way too much for him. He can't even. He can't even figure out center field, and he's the fastest guy in the organization other than Hamilton. So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, also too, like you look at like you talk about Emmanuel Valdez, but like he's a lefty too, and
mm-hmm.
like and I think he starts the year in AAA because why put him on the bench? And like it doesn't really fit.
You teach him how to be a switch hitter. You spend all of spring training you're taking all of your bats. You're taking right-handed, so you're just going to be a
Yeah.
right-handed hitter.
Yeah, unless they platoon him with Arroyo, unless he goes off in spring training, they're like, we're gonna platoon you with Arroyo, because like that's why I brought up a name like Tony Kemp so many times in the last couple of weeks, where it's like, yeah, Tony Kemp you can platoon with Arroyo at second base, can also stick him in left field occasionally. Arroyo you can also stick at short and third occasionally. So it's like but you also get some versatility there, but yeah, there's still like definitely spots missing, and I think that's kind of the big thing when you try and make a lineup. There's at a minimum of one guy missing, most likely two now with Story out.
Mm-hmm. And we'll tweet this out after this video goes up, and you can tell us which lineup you like better, whose version of the 2023 Red Sox lineup you like better. At follow at Bleacher Brawl to see that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the big thing though to mention is we're still in January. There's still time. Hopefully they get some stuff done. You would think they have to, but the offseason moving really, really slow right now at this point. It always does. So let's hope for some good news in the next couple of days and no more bad news or anything like that. Any final thoughts, Luke?
I'm just waiting on the Chris Sale injury, wondering when that's going to happen. I'm guessing it'll happen just pulling on his pants, and he will strain his back, and they'll find out that he has advanced spinal stenosis, and he will never pitch again.
Hey, they can always put Kenley Jansen at catcher if they need a catcher.
That's right. I had no idea he ever caught before until I saw that on Twitter the other day.
Yeah, it was legit catcher in the Dodger system. And then they're like, well, no, we're going to have you pitch. And yeah, turn into one of the best closers of his generation.
Wow, that worked out well for him.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah. So, yeah, make sure, let us know in the comments. What would your ideal Red Sox lineup be? Who's in it? Who's not in it? Do you guys agree with us, disagree, whatever? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to know when we post. Check out all the Bleacher Brawls links in the description, the website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. They're all down there. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. For Luke, I'm Derek. You've been watching Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.